I'm a Mauritian, born and bred. I studied in the UK. In fact, I was trained as an economist back in the 80s. And after having worked a while in the UK, I decided to come back to Mauritius and started to work in whatever field. I wasn't quite sure because at that time, there was no real opportunities for economists to getting involved in any sort of professional activity. So I met with some people who reoriented me to human resources. I started in a consultancy company. Okay. And then went into a corporate structure. So I worked for the sugar industry for about 12 years. And then I joined Rogers, which is a multi-business company, Rogers Group. I worked there for 8 years before joining the Mauritius Commercial Bank, where I worked for 11 years and then retired and I did two short stints, one for the Mauritius Institute of Directors. That was a bit of a turnaround project. Okay. And another one for Air Mauritius, which was a rescue plan just before the pandemic. Wow. So now I worked, I'm on my own. I am a freelance consultant, mostly in the strategic human resources field.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and you've moved around a lot in your career, but that's wonderful. So can you tell us more about what you're doing right now?
As I said, I am a consultant in the field of human resources. So what it means is that I help companies optimize their human resources, which means, people are the most, are the real assets, the tangible assets of the company. Right. And they provide an intangible input, like their intelligence, their skills, their competence, and so on, which companies use and transform into an output which would be eventually, profit. To make it simple. So my job is to ensure that people who are employed by any company are engaged in such a way that they deliver the expectations of the company. Right. At the same time, we ensure that those people are happy in their job, that they are motivated, that they find their job meaningful, and they are being, well treated, in fact.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And can you tell us a bit more about how COVID affected what you do?
COVID surprisingly has helped human resources management to review and to review its traditional functioning. Right. COVID created a space for human resources, for instance, to achieve work-life balance by getting people to work from home, for instance. So it provided that necessary balance in any professional's life. Wow. So it's at the beginning it was quite difficult because we were not used to that kind of that mode work, but we very quickly turned it around and made of work from home an opportunity to manage human resources differently. The biggest challenge was, how do you trust people whilst they are not here under your eyes?
Yeah.
So how do you, because the just before that the pandemic, we were more into a control environment. So we like to see our people here and know what they're doing physically. And then when you get them to work from home, you lose that control kind of mechanism. And now you have to learn how to trust, rather how to track people. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a mindset shift for organizations, which benefited human resources in the end.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that's very interesting. Sorry.
No, I said the flip side of it is that a lot of people lost their jobs and they lost trust in a number of sectors, like in the hospitality sector. So when people lost their jobs after the pandemic, they didn't want to go back to that sector to work because they lost trust. They said, if we come across another turbulence again, I'll lose my job. So I better find something else somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. And what do you like the most about what you do?
Growing people, developing them, because a lot of my activity is about leadership development, training, coaching. And in fact, if you ask me what my why is, what my mission statement is about developing people, is to make people become better versions of themselves. And in the job I do, I can see that. When I start an intervention, I ensure that whatever I initiate is being monitored, and the deliverable is that people have grown and they have benefited from my experience, at least, because I have no theories. I don't teach any concepts. I really go by experience.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. You seem very passionate about what you do. Yeah, and you're right. You have had a lot of experience when you were talking earlier, having moved from different fields and ending up where you are today. That's wonderful. And
Thank
finally,
you.
what is your advice to kids and the next generation?
My advice would be, live up to your dreams. Whatever you dream of, don't let go. Live up to your dreams. People will, you have a lot of influences. There are also a lot of opportunities out there. And once you've understood at least that inner voice inside, providing you with a direction, find out what your mission, your purpose will be, and live up to it, and don't let anyone deviate you from that mission, that why that you've set for yourself.